Good babies. Who's safe now, huh? Bet this is a nicer stall than where you came from, huh? They were stall bound.
Gosh, they look a little better in this setting than they did in that setting. But
how was the stall they were living in? Crappy, I take it?
No, I mean, they're generally clean. I do not think, you know, we've never gotten our babies trimmed. I don't think these babies have left the stall. Do you see that?
Yeah,
they're curled up. This one, I think, has left the stall. Her feet are fine. These two, I don't think they left the stall.
Each year, hundreds of Nurse Mare foals are born. Those who breed them do not care if they live or die. These small, innocent animals are a necessary byproduct and less important than the dirt beneath the feet of the breeders. It's big business to rent the mother of these foals so she can feed the foal of a high-dollar mare. Last Chance Corral alone rescues approximately 200 foals a year, and they are only one rescue. But without them and others like them, these precious babies would face certain death. They are the dedicated men and women who devote their time, energy, and money to save as many as they can, and still, far too many do not make it. Their chance for life gone shortly after they took their first breath. Over 40,000 foals are born. Of these, there is no record of how many of those born to the elite mare are in need of a nurse mare. As a result, there is no count on how many nurse mare foals are born. In order to bring a mare to milk, she must have a foal. In the world of the horse industry, the foal of a nurse mare is a necessary byproduct and by many called a junk foal. They have no other purpose, and many are sold to tanners, where their hides make pony bags, cordovan leather for couches and shoes. Some get rescued. Our Dinky is a nurse mare foal. He is one of the lucky ones, and he had a chance at life and a home. But to achieve that, Dinky had to survive and live the first few months of his life with the loss of his mother, fear for his future, and his place in the world. He had no mother or adult horse to teach him how to be a horse. To help him through, he had his fellow nurse mare foals and caring humans around him to help him endure some of the roughest times of his life. Many in this world hold the life of an animal worthless and consider them dumb creatures without soul, feelings, thoughts, or heart. I find it sad. One only has to watch the interaction between any animal to see so clearly that is not so. Animals think, feel, care. They are curious about their surroundings and recognize friends and family. When I wrote Dinky, the Nurse Mare's foal, my purpose was to give a face to all nurse mare foals, to show the world what glorious and remarkable creatures they are, that the bloodline does not make the spirit, heart, curiosity, intelligence, and love that is a horse. Although Dinky, the Nurse Mare's foal, is the story of only one foal out of the thousands born every year, in a way it is a story of all nurse mare foals that are rescued, adopted, and survive. Each one has its own story, but all have similarities. They are all bred for the sole purpose to get their mother in milk. From there, if they live or die is unimportant to the horse world. When we first met Dinky, he was so small and frail that he broke our heart. As with all nurse mare foals, he was needy and curious about the world. He had no idea how to be a horse, having missed out on the nurturing and growing that his mother would have given him. As I began writing his story, I realized it could only be written from his point of view, complete with the fear of losing his mother, the uncertainty of his future, and the wonder of meeting his new friends. It is his story, and though the beginning is fiction based on research, from the time we met him, all the events are true. I am not going to tell you that raising Dinky was or is an easy task. It wasn't and isn't. He came to us about 5 months old, needy, frightened, and desperate for comfort. As with many who adopt nurse mare foals, the tendency for us to pamper and comfort was real. Only loosely training for the sweetness and sadness of these little foals touches one's heart so deeply. Alas, many come to the realization that they made a mistake treating this small foal as if it were a puppy after it becomes 500 pounds or more. Ken and I were fortunate. We had some experience with large horses, and this headstrong young colt finally began his real training. Dinky has a stubborn streak. We had no wish to break his spirit nor stem his curiosity, but he needed to know that we were alpha to him. It was imperative that he learn this for everyone's safety and his happiness. The first few times he tipped over the wheelbarrow full of manure, attempting to push it, was cute. The 15th time it was not. Much of what he does and did remains cute and funny, though he has learned over time that there are times and places for some of it. Of the happiest moments I felt for Dinky was when I watched Peter Whitmore training and finally riding him. It was if he had found not only his purpose, but a sense of pride and confidence he had not had before. He had a job, and he knew it. If the truth be told, the Nurse Mare Foal, as a result of its rough beginnings and ability to survive, thrive, and live, may, in many cases, be the stronger and smarter horse. Dinky's story is an adoption tale. It tells us all how we can overcome obstacles, no matter our past or how our life began. It shows us how to find the link with our own humanity, spirit, and heart. As he learns how to be a horse with the help of his friends and survive heartache and loss, yet still he is able to find the joy in life, we learn our own worth along with him. Dinky is a Nurse Mare Foal, and as many that I have met, he has learned where and how he was born is less important than who he has become.
One of the men held me tightly with a rope around my neck. He pulled me away from Mother. I could smell his sweat along with the stink of him. There was no tenderness or mercy in his hands. Still, I struggled to get away and watched as a monster came into view over the horizon. It made a loud growling noise. It didn't walk on 2 legs or 4, nor did it fly like the birds or crawl on the ground like the worms and the bugs. It rolled on 6 wheels. It stank of smoke, fear, and death. And it was coming closer. I didn't know how to puff up and rear. I was too small to fight. I couldn't protect us. I just sobbed. "Joe, grab his back end," one of the men said as they picked me up and tossed me into the back of the trailer. Before the door closed, scared and alone, I watched Mother get slowly to her feet, crestfallen and head hanging low. As the men slammed the door and locked me into the box, I screamed, "Mama!" Impatiently, the men pulled the bucket away from me and carried it out the door. Still hungry, I whimpered. The man who put the rope around my neck complained as he slammed the door. "Stupid junk foal. I don't know why we always get stuck with this job. Do you, Joe?" The way he said junk foal made me cringe. It sounded as if he was talking about a piece of garbage. Holding my head up, even in my dread, I let my mother's words again run through my mind. Remember, do not pay any attention if you hear the words junk foal. These are words used by ignorant humans. For a little while, letting her voice play in my mind helped ease my panic. Maybe even Cole will be adopted, Abigail piped in. Nothing firm, but a few people did ask about him. I don't think anyone was quite serious, though, she finished sadly. Hearing the name they called me, my ears poked up until I heard Abigail's last statement. Even the women cared. They wouldn't keep us together or allow us to live here. We'd find homes, or we'd be sold at auction. Our time was running out.
As we watched him grow and blossom, learning his place in the herd and how to be a horse in the world of humans, it was both sad and delightful for us all. Kaylee, Lucky, Sundance, Mimosa, Little Jimmy, and all the other Nurse Mare Foals that were Dinky's first friends are thriving. Some are showing and others are trail horses. Dinky has grown to be a magnificent horse, happy with both his human and horse family. Chrome and Canella took him under their wings the minute they met him and have all been fast friends since. As with most children, his curiosity was boundless, and to this day that remains. Raising Dinky was a challenge. At first he was too thin and small for his age, but he was feisty, headstrong, and at times lonely and frightened. He did not understand how to be a horse, what was expected of him, not even by the older horses, having lived his entire short life with only humans and foals. One could see in his eyes the confusion and uncertainty that comes from the loss and fear he had experienced in those first months of his life. Dinky did not understand what it was to be weaned, nor what life for him should be. Sometimes we would see him staring off into the distance as if he was trying to learn some lesson he didn't comprehend. Yet there is a love and curiosity beyond what I have seen in other horses. Though he still has trouble understanding space, Dinky has a strong need for comfort and reassurance that he was and is wanted. Little Jimmy, who began his life with a tube stitched to his face and his milk poured down it through his nose for he was too weak to eat or stand on his own, is thriving. Dinky, Lucky, Kaylee, Sundance, Little Jimmy, and all the other Nurse Mare foals that are rescued are the fortunate ones. Most are not so lucky, they do not make it. This cruel practice of breeding a mare only to throw away her foal is heartless. It is not natural, nor is it necessary. A mare is more than a breeding machine, and a horse is more than its bloodline. I, for one, cannot imagine life without our Dinky. He is not a registered thoroughbred, like Chrome is, nor a registered paint quarter horse, as Canella is. But he is every bit as smart and talented as they are, and we love them all. We are also aware of how blessed we are that his strength of spirit allowed us to be there and adopt him. Dinky was fortunate. He was rescued. As we watched him grow and blossom, learning his place in the herd and how to be a horse in the world of humans, it was both sad and delightful for us all. Without Christine, April, and all the other volunteers, our Dinky may not be with us, for they have no way to fend for themselves and no one to teach them to be a horse.